So before we start, let's go to File, set the project. I usually set the projects using these directories here under Locations, and when I'm importing assets such as textures and models, I use the relative path here. So I'll go to the directory where we put our project, double click inside of it, and click Accept. So that's the project set. Let's create a geometry node by hitting Tab, which brings up the Tab menu in this object context. We'll rename this to Bottle. Dive inside, drop down a file SOP. We'll search via the $job relative path. Go to the cache folder, obj. I'm going to jump into the examples folder for this. You guys are welcome to do either one using the models that you've created or the ones that I've previously done. So I'll just import that bottle prim just like that. I'll press Space G in the viewport to frame the model, just like F in Maya. And from here, it doesn't look like it, but the model has been imported 100 times larger than it should be. So this is something, this is a step that you're going to have to go through every time that you import a model into Houdini from Maya. So we're going to add a transform SOP. And we're going to divide the current size by 100. So it's a really simple calculation. It's just 1 divided by 100 gives us 0.01. And that's because Maya's units are in centimeters and Houdini's units are in meters. So if I press Space G now to frame that up, we'll see that that's the correct scale. And one of these units in Houdini is 1 meter. Cool. We'll drop down a subdivide SOP to subdivide our very primitive looking model. And that looks like this, which looks a little bit weird, and that's because we need to recalculate the normals. So if we add a facet down, you can do this two ways. You can add a normal SOP. Oops. Just like that, or add a facet. Either one is fine. And we will post-compute the normals. And that gets it looking exactly like our smooth model in Maya. I think I'll go up. I'll click W in the perspective view, take us into wireframe, and I'll just increase the subdivision level depth to 2, just to subdivide that model. And make sure we're viewing and we've got the display flag set to blue on the facet. Hit W again in the viewport to go out. Okay, we'll do exactly the same for the liquid. We'll copy and paste that, rename it to liquid. And on here, we'll just change the file path. Make sure you're searching via the $job. And basically, the reason we do this is so the path stays relative. So if you move your project folder, you can just reset the project. So file, set project, and just select your same project wherever that is in a new location. So I'll just search for my liquid prim there. We want to keep the subdivisions exactly the same so that the liquid lines up with the inside of the bottle. If I leave this as a depth of 1, then that won't be matching anymore. So let's view from here, that's fine. We'll copy and paste that again. Change the name to cap, jump inside, find our cap. Just like that. And we'll do it for the solar text as well. Just like that. And you'll notice that if we leave the subdivide on, then we get some really weird distortion there. So we'll delete that subdivide SOP. We don't need it. Cool. Okay, so from this point, let's create a camera. And the way we do that, we can just create a camera here, or we can sort of frame this bottle up in the perspective view here. Let's frame that up a little bit. I'm going to control click on the camera, which creates a camera from the current perspective. If I move out of the camera, let's shift the pivot point all the way into the ball. Just like that. We'll change the name of the render cam, the name of the camera to render cam. Go over to the view tab. I'm going to turn the icon scale down to, I think, about 0.15, something like that, make it nice and small so it's not in the way. We'll change the resolution to 1000 by 2000. So let's jump in the render cam. So we're in it. Change this to 1000 by 2000. If I try to move around in the camera, it just goes out of it. So we need to go into the camera and lock the camera whilst we're moving it. Then zoom in. Like this. Let's change the millimeter of the focal length to 85mm. We'll zoom out a little bit. Just frame that up a little bit better. I'll go over to the transform tab. I think I'll set the rotate Y to 0. Set this to 0 as well. And now I'm just going to move just so we have a bottle that's kind of level. I think that looks about right. I'll unclick the lock so we can move out of the camera. Just going to move that back into where it is. And then next we can set up our materials. So at this stage I'm just going to do a file, save as, dollar job, scenes, Houdini. I'll rename this to soda bottle _ B001, and we'll just keep versioning up like we did in Maya.